Another Fender Deluxe Reverb reissue. This one's the 68 Custom. And the owner says when he takes it out of standby, there's a massive hum and that there's a squeal when he turns up the reverb. Both of those things are most likely a filter cap. The screen node would be my guess based on the reverb behavior, and that's where the reverb transformer driver is derived from, the screen node. But there are a few other things it could be. Let's open it up and see what it actually is. Alright, I've taken the chassis out and I've taken the 4 screws out so you don't have to hear that, but I've not looked underneath yet. Let's do that together. Alright, why is that holding on? That should not be holding on at all in this model. Well, I don't see any visible leakage or any discoloration on those caps. Doesn't mean these caps are any good. This is the screen node that I'd be initially suspicious of, but let's do a couple things here. First of all, as always, though I don't show it in every video, I do this on every amp. I want to make sure everything's discharged before I start putting my pretty little fingers everywhere. 0 volts, 1.1, 1.1, that's because it's in standby. I take it in play. That'll drain through those resistors here. It's going down slowly because they're fairly large resistors. But I'm not worried about now 0.5 volt. And that voltage reading is low enough. Let me check for resistance across these caps, if any of them have just shorted, which happens. No. All right, so no shorts. While I have it open like this, I'm going to make sure all the hardware here is tight. That won't cause the symptoms described, but it's never a bad thing. Those are all pretty good. They're often not in current production Fenders. People have said, you're just trying to find fault with everything. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for noticing. That is literally my job, to try to find anything wrong with the client's amp so I can fix it so it won't be wrong anymore. And that is inexpensive amps, expensive amps, boutique amps, vintage amps. I'm not out to get anyone. I'm out to protect the client from problems. All right, none of the tubes have lost vacuum. I don't see any heat discoloration on the octal tubes. So we'll flip this over and take a listen. I read the problem description about 1 minute before starting this video, and I still got it wrong. The problem description actually says massive hum when turning off standby. I assume that means either going in or out. That's not clear. And then I said it squealed when the reverb is turned up. No, the sound is distorted when the reverb is turned up. So we will get to that reverb issue. The only thing that doesn't pass my visual sniff test, if that's not a horrible thing to say, is there is a lead over here that's bent over and possibly coming too close to an adjacent trace, trusting just on this conformal coating to keep that from shorting. Let me show you that better. That's right here. It's bent over and it's touching the next trace, though that is on the other side of the solder mask. So that's in the intensity pot. I don't think that would cause a problem, but let's see if we can reproduce a problem. I'll snip that, see if that was contributing. I don't think so, but I'll snip it either way. Anyway, let's power this thing on. I'll power it on in standby because it seems like that's what the owner is doing. I want to replicate the problem. And I've got it hooked up to his speaker. All right, it's on my current limiter. I don't think it's going to do anything spectacular, but that might let me know if there's too much current going on. Oh yeah, that's a good sound. Hear that? Yeah, that's a filter cap. That is a classic filter cap sound. I'll let you guys hear it one more time. The only other thing it could possibly be might be the rectifier tube, but I really doubt that. Just in case, let me swap that out. I'm pretty sure that's a filter cap though. Got a new Sovtech 5AR4 in here. I'm about to power it on without using the standby switch to see if that hum starts to fade in as the V plus flows. I think it's probably a filter cap. And remember, this is a fairly new amp. 68 Custom's not been on the market very long. Those filter caps visibly look fine, and yet I really think we got a bad one, at least one. If I'm right, that buzz should return, but it'll fade in. Yep, there we go. One other thing it could be, let me just rule it out for the sake of what ifs. All right, these right here are the heater balance resistors. And I have never had one that was good, that was bad, that was not discolored. And they're measuring just fine. So that's not the heater supply losing its reference to ground. That's a bad filter cap. So that's pretty easy and inexpensive on these, and no one will ever miss having the stock filter caps in these. So now you know what a bad filter cap sounds like, or one of the symptoms for it. Let me snip that little bit of wire while I'm in here, because that's just not good. It fell down in the chassis. I'll shake it out. Let me show you one other really primo quality thing in here. On the 68 Custom, you have this regular mids resistor, which goes right here. And the trace leading to it is right here. They cut that trace, this is the same board used in the 65 reissue. And they put that little bit of electrical tape over the cut trace. It never really stays in place long. And they tack solder in an 18K resistor. You can see it's not too bad here, and it's pretty bodged and tenuous a connection here. These things are really slammed out the door pretty fast, and just a great sign of quality. Anywho, next time you see this amp, these will be gone. Some MODs or F&Ts will be in their place, and that buzz should be a thing of the past.